Okay, so today I'm going to talk about how foreign intelligence agencies hunt Islamic terror cells. Okay, so let's say in a example, a foreign intelligence agency is looking for a terrorist called Shaharul. Okay, so what they do first is they gather intelligence on terrorist Shaharul. They will start by doing HUMINT or human intelligence. Human intelligence means that they talk to informants, right? They find out about terrorist Shaharul. They gather information about him, right? It also means looking and analyzing reports, intelligence reports that are linked to terrorist Shaharul, his associates, his family members, his friends, and his hobbies, his habits and stuff like that, right? Then once they identify a pattern that they can build on, they will move to signal intelligence. So signal intelligence means that they start analyzing his internet usage, his phone records, right? His SMS, his calls, his internet usage, to gather more information about him, right? Now, in this phase, once they find that terrorist Shaharul is a credible threat, okay, and they will start moving on to the target development phase. Now, in target development phase, they will start to decide whether they want to capture terrorist Shaharul for intelligence interrogation, or that they want to eliminate him during the raid and kill him, right? So depending on the situation and on the objective of the foreign intelligence agencies, right? So it can happen either ways, right? So now in this target development phase, what they do is they start doing surveillance on terrorist Shaharul, right? They find out where he goes, what he does, right? And they start looking at his bank account as well, his travel records, and all that stuff, to try to triangulate and pin him down to a fixed pattern where they can intercept him. Okay, so eventually they would find his place of residence and his habitual timing, right? And they will find that probably he is very consistent at being at home in an apartment at 5 a.m. sleeping. So now they would start to move on to the phase of preparing for the raid. Okay, so preparing for the raid, what they do is they start using military special operations forces to move in to either capture terrorist Shaharul for intelligence interrogation or to kill terrorist Shaharul, right? So military SF guys will go down to his apartment outside to identify entry and exit points, okay, to look at a perimeter of the his apartment, right, where he could possibly escape or where he could possibly run to during the actual raid itself, right? And then to identify the area, are there any civilians in the area, how's the traffic in the area, how's the human traffic in the area, and all that stuff, right? So once they have done all this pre-surveillance of the site, the military special forces team will then start to train and prepare for the raid, right? They'll do a mock-up of the entire apartment area, right? And start practicing for it, right? So all this preparation phase can take days to weeks. Now, on the day that they decide to do the raid, right, to either capture or to kill terrorist Shaharul, they will deploy perimeter teams first. So perimeter teams will move in the perimeter of the entire apartment quietly and try to cover areas where terrorist Shaharul can possibly escape, right? So if, let's say, during the actual entry itself, terrorist Shaharul managed to escape, the perimeter teams can still catch him, right? So next they will set up Overwatch as well to have constant eyes on target or eyes on his apartment, right? And then the entry team now will start to do the breach. So military special forces teams, when they start doing breach into apartments, there are many methods to do it, right? So in this example, I'll use a simultaneous point entry method. So multiple teams that will outnumber the occupants inside terrorist Shaharul apartment would do a multi-point breach, right? So they will breach from the doors, they will breach from the back doors, they will breach from the front windows, they will breach from the back windows, right? Now, before I carry on, before all this raid is in the execution phase, right? Military special operations teams already know that at 5 a.m. when they conduct the raid, who are the occupants inside with terrorist Shaharul, right? What kind of weapons are they carrying, if they are carrying any, right? And what kind of firefight to expect if they have weapons, right? If they have no weapons, then they know how to adjust the mission intensity, okay? And they also know to avoid civilian casualties and minimize collateral damage, right? Now, we move back to the raid. So let's say a multi-point breach is done, okay? And all SF members have entered the building. They will start to do building clearance, right? CQB, room entry, and they will execute the principles of surprise, speed, violence of action, and overwhelming control of the space, okay? Now, after killing the terrorists that are associated with terrorist Shaharul in the building, they will move on to identify and find terrorist Shaharul, right? So once they identify that that terrorist is terrorist Shaharul, they will execute their neutralization phase, either to capture him, to bring him back for intelligence interrogation, to extract information out of him, or they will just kill him on the spot, okay? Now, after this entire execution phase, what military special operations forces do is they move on to sensitive site exploitation. So in sensitive site exploitation, basically now that they are the scene already, okay, target is neutralized, right? They will move on to collect the phones, laptops, hard drives, and documents, right, of not only terrorist Shaharul if he's dead, but also of his associates and all the other dead terrorists that are down there, okay? And if there are any surviving terrorists that the team purposely keep alive because they determine that they have high intelligence value, then they would bring them for interrogation, right? So with all this analysis of all their gadgets, right, they gather information about terrorist Shaharul network, right? Because foreign intelligence agencies are concerned with taking down the entire network of a terrorist cell, right? They are not there just to take down one terrorist, right? They are looking at the bigger picture, right? They want to neutralize the entire terror cell. So after sensitive site exploitation, they'll start to analyze their gadgets, right? Look at all the information that they have gathered and see whether there are any other nodes, right, that they can conduct neutralization against, right? That means that is there another terrorist that they can go and raid, you know, that they can go and capture and interrogate, or that they need to neutralize and kill, right? So this cycle will just keep repeating, right? Intelligence feeds the cycle, and then they will start reading and gathering intelligence. So they'll keep doing this cycle until the entire network is neutralized.